We need to talk about that. If we really want to put a stop to the chaos and the violence that has been happening in Parliament, we need to talk about the underlying issues. Firstly, when the vetting started this year, the minority side in Parliament has been compromising on a lot of issues, including compromising on Standing Order 3, which says that when the president gives a formal communication on the list of appointees, the Speaker of Parliament must come to the floor of Parliament to read the list of appointees to the members of Parliament and refer the list to the appointment committee. The minority in Parliament have compromised on Standing Order 3 because normally people would have bring input for that input to be used for the vetting. The minority have compromised on that Standing Order 3 to help the NDC form their government swiftly. We've compromised on that. On that fateful day, they agreed that they are going to vet only 3 people. That is Rashid Pelpo, Sam George, and then Murtala Mohammed. That was the 3 people they agreed they were going to vet on that very day. And then they go back and come and said, oh, the Minister for Transport is around, so let's vet him. Meanwhile, he was not part of the list. But for the sake of compromise, they agreed and vetted the Minister for Transport. And now they come back again and said, oh, let's vet another minister. They agreed, and then they vetted him again. Additional 2 people who are not part of the stipulated list. And they mean at 10:30 p.m. What is the purpose of the vetting? At 10:30 p.m., even people who are following you from 10 o'clock a.m. wouldn't be following you again. As what is the purpose of continuing at a vetting as at 10:30 p.m.? So
your grounds...
And you know, I'm coming. And you know, the majority has this hypocritical and arrogant mantra in Parliament that they are the majority in Parliament and they can do whatever that they want to do. And you add in your statement, you lied. Because at that very day, at that particular instance, they forced the minority to sit down and vet Akando and Okujetua Blakwa. So you lied. There was no point of consensus. There was no point of, okay, let's vote. If you say you are going, we will stay. So let's vote. There was no chance for that. And so you lied, and so you should apologize to Ghanaians. They insisted the minority to sit down and vet Minta Akando and Okujetua Blakwa.
So you don't agree
and
that
it doesn't happen,
out?
And it doesn't happen anywhere. It is just a misuse of parliamentary proceedings.
So you don't think they could have just walked out and still not, adhere to that call? They would have.
No, Mimi. They insisted, together with the chairman, they insisted that they should sit down and let them vet Okujetua Blakwa, and then Mita Akando. The videos are there. You can go back and watch.
So my question to you is that, yes, they insisted, but
but they are also part of the committee, and so you can't say, I mean, you are vetting a nominee without their presence, because even earlier, they've done a compromise with you guys to vet 2 additional people who are not part of the list.
Okay, so
why is it that at this point you guys can come together and make a compromise and continue the following day?
Okay, so that didn't happen. But I want us to go back to Friday.
Yes.
When Honorable Afenyo Marcus begged to leave.
And then the minority followed. Vetting continued.
Because they didn't agree to something they were...
When they said that according to their understanding
has made an information already that because he has suspended some of the members of Parliament, and these people that have been suspended are integral part of the committee, they can't disobey the Speaker's ruling. And at that instant, the Speaker vividly said they should meet him in his office.
And so, apparently he had said to another that he was going to drop his wife at the airport.
So he was not around. And so
Did you hear that? Did you hear that from the Speaker?
I didn't hear it from the Speaker's mouth.
And so the Speaker of Parliament doesn't need one person.
What was on record?
The Speaker of Parliament doesn't need just one person. No, I'm coming down. No, I've not even started.
What was on record?
Mimi, get this, that the Speaker of Parliament doesn't need just one person to make an official communication.
I totally agree.
Exactly.
But I'm trying to make a point to back what I'm saying.
We can't agree to what the person said. So we are only following what the Speaker of Parliament said on the floor of Parliament, which has been captured on the media.
Point. So Afenyo then asks,
Yes,
Afenyo then asks to leave. So that is what I'm saying, that they could have done the same thing.
The same thing on Thursday. Exactly.
When they could have just said that, listen, I do not agree with this thing continuing. Plus, you need my energy to do the vetting. You need me to. I'm part of the vetting committee. So if you do not allow us to continue this tomorrow morning, then we are going to beg to leave. And we could have just done that amicably. What don't you think?
When you read Standing Order 130,
right,
it tells you that before, let's say, a majority or minority can leave a vetting committee, there have to be a consensus. Now, if the consensus doesn't happen, then we need to vote. But the chairman of the vetting committee did not allow that process to happen.
Mimi.
And you need to get.
Sorry. Fortunately for us, we were all watching.
If tell him, because if he start this game, I'm the master of that game. So tell him.
We're not going to do that here. We're not going to.
Secondly, you see, he says the Speaker of Parliament made a suspension, and that is right. Really? Look, the Speaker of Parliament erred, because when you read Standing Order 130, it tells you that you cannot suspend a member of Parliament for 2 weeks. Go back and read Standing Order 30.
But when the members of Parliament act out of character, I'm not saying
exactly.
it. I'm talking to you.
So let me make my point.
When they act out of character, they should be maintained in Parliament.
Who acted out of character? Who acted out of character? Do you know what came before they acted out of character?
It doesn't warrant
that. You should blame that. Listen, we've blamed and we've condemned the act. But we need to talk about the underlying issues and call those people who orchestrated all these things.
I don't disagree to that. I don't disagree to that. I'm just saying that.
We've all condemned, but we need to talk about the underlying issues. And that is right, because if we really want to put a stop to this, we need to call people who are found in this act. People who brought the issue, we need to talk about it. We can't just condemn the act and leave it. If you leave it that way, it will continue to happen.
True.
When you read Standing Order 130, it tells you that you can't suspend a member of Parliament for 2 weeks. It's on social media. Go back and read it and stop telling lies. It says that on the first occasion, you can suspend a member of Parliament for only 4 sitting days. On the second occasion, I mean, this is public knowledge. On the second occasion, you can suspend a member of Parliament for only 8 sitting days. And on the third occasion, 12 sitting days. So, Mr. Speaker, where from the 2 weeks? And you sit here and says, people are being violent and then they can be suspended anyhow. Look, we are in a democratic atmosphere. And anything that we do must be bound by law. You can't just sit and do anything as you feel, because your party is in power and you can do anything, and nobody can come at you. Look, we are being bound by law.
Okay,
and the Parliament is a house of law.
Okay,
and
so we're going to move on.
Standing Order 130, you can go and read them.
Yeah.
Mimi, before you move on, it will be unfair to me and the NDC if you don't allow, because he took much time. Just give me about 2 minutes. Or even if
I don't think that's the case. Maybe he talked a lot.
He took a lot of minutes. It means that I still have some minutes. No, Mimi. I don't think.
It's an offense.
The same, still staying on the vetting committee, a lot of allegations have already started springing up with regards to how things are being done there. And so we saw Oliver Becker-Vermawo apologize, which was very interesting to see, because again, if you're going to make allegations against such honorable men, I don't know if they're still very honorable at this time, but again, I totally condemn what happened in Parliament on Thursday. I say that no matter what the situation is, again, we are in a democratic dispensation, and so for a lot of conversation we can dialogue them over and have results that we need. Violence is not what we expect from our honorables, so really I totally condemn that. Now let's move on to the apology from Oliver Becker-Vermawo. Someone told me that, listen, this man is going to be president very soon, but what do you make of his apology? I'm going to start with you, Moses.
First of all, I think I was looking forward to the submission of unimpeachable evidence initially, because I saw he made a post on his socials that he's ready to present himself to the vetting committee the next day. So I was really looking forward to, because we've also noticed that in the fourth estate book written by Manasseh Azuri, certain similar allegations have been made, and I thought probably this would be the time where we would have unimpeachable evidence to back some of those claims. But it was a bit disappointing that he met the vetting committee, and to an extent he started saying that it was a post he made in reference to something. It was long. It was too much. And then he offered an apology, which when he started his submissions, I knew that was what we were getting to, because immediately I saw the bevy of lawyers he came with, and I saw the caliber of lawyers he came with. I knew that it was a clear strategy to use the kind of people he brought in to be able to appeal to the mercy of the committee, because you saw senior statesmen and legal brains who were part of his legal team. Yeah. And the point is, if you are going to make spurious allegations in this manner, and on such a platform you have, and you do not provide context, you do not provide a basis for them, and you say that later on it was just some postulations you were made, it's problematic, because you see, Parliament already has credibility issues because of some things that have happened in the past. And we keep saying that we want to safeguard our democracy and maintain law and order and maintain transparency within our governance framework. So if you are going to chart that part, we expect that you make those allegations, having the responsibility to provide the evidence that back those claims. You don't meet the vetting committee and checking out. And I have had a lot of respect for him for the level of activism that he's displayed with Fix the Country. And I thought truly he would have stuck to his words and provided evidence to back those claims, but it was very disappointing. Very disappointing.
For an activist like yourself, then he shouldn't have gone on that tangent at all. But the posture of the vetting committee on issues regarding these things, you know, someone thought they were throwing their weight about. I mean, they could have just ignored this conversation. I'm going to take that from you. Okay. They could have just ignored Oliver's post on social media and moved on with
Mimi, kindly indulge me before I come to Oliver.
Please, I need you to stay on Oliver.
Okay,
I don't have time.
It will be really unfair, because he made very serious.
He did not make any serious allegations.
Falsehood. To the fact that there was no consultation and that the majority prevented. We all watched the video. How could majority prevent people from leaving? It was actually the minority that tried to prevent proceedings, and so they knew that if they walked away, there was still quorum. Right? Because the majority had the numbers to continue the vetting. And so in order to terminate the whole process, they decided to, move tables, destroy my... In fact, we all watched the video. So the falsehood he's just peddling, will not wash so long as I am here. And you see, we are talking about voting.
But Mimi,
you said majority prevented minority from voting. Can you imagine? Why would the majority refuse a vote on that issue?
My producers are furnishing me with some details with regards to what had happened with the Speaker of Parliament. I'm sorry. So Standing Order 130 says where a member is found to be in contempt of Parliament under Order 129, the member shall be suspended immediately from the House, and unless the House otherwise decides, the suspension shall be on the first occasion for 4 sitting days, on second occasion for 8 sitting days, and on the third or subsequently occasions for 12 sitting days, except that in calculating the period of suspension of a member, the day on which the member was suspended shall be included. And unless the House otherwise orders, the period of suspension shall not be extended beyond the end of session. The Speaker shall call the attention of the House to the fact that the force is necessary in order to compel obedience where a suspended member refuses to obey the direction of the Speaker to leave the House, and the member shall be forcefully removed from the House by the marshal accordingly. So maybe the 14 days is a bit too much, again, on the first count, but
that's why I love your production team.
Why would the conversation or the subject matter be reduced to the number of days that they've been suspended, rather than the act?
When I started asking the question, I said something that in a parliament that is governed by the law, was it right for the Speaker of Parliament to let's keep it in that context, right? Because again, if we all wake up in the morning and decide that MPs will do what they want in Parliament, Speaker will do what they want in Parliament, then we're going to have chaos, because we're going to be having people like my very sweetheart, Honorable Opinion Market, because I like to bash him a little bit, so I have to give him names. come up and contest these actions. And so again, because we want a very peaceful process every single time Parliament says that, let's stay within the law, right?
So
and what does the law say?
The directive was needful.
Absolutely.
But
the time, again,
time frame.
right? Yeah. Absolutely, the legality. So please, I want you to appreciate that. So we move on. So please, on this,
I think that
Oliver's case. Sorry.
The appointments committee can do better than they are doing. In all sincerity, some of the minority members are asking very fantastic questions. I am into foreign affairs, and so when Honorable Ablakwa was seated, I was following keenly. And Honorable Abu Jinapo, I admired him that day. The kind of questions he asked about the Honorable Ablakwa's stance on neutrality and all. It appears that when you follow Ablakwa very keenly on social media, it appears he is more like a socialist, a leftist. And for a member of parliament to have asked this question as someone who is going to be Ghana's foreign affairs minister, and for a country that is neutral, since the days of Nkrumah, and for you to be seen as being a leftist, it was a right question to have asked. And so some of them are, in fact, Jerry Ahmed Shaibu Honorable, prior to this incident, he has been fantastic. But then the minority leader is becoming a nuisance to the committee. Look, the purpose of this vetting is to assess the nominees' suitability for the role. It is not a personal vendetta kind of thing.
But don't you think that people's personality, I've heard this a lot, and I'm sorry to cut you, I've heard this a lot, that, the conversations are getting too personal. But if you're putting someone in position, don't you want to check their character, they're facing the business with? You
need to balance it. I mean, it's becoming too much.
It's okay.
Asking about where they live, their wives, and what business, second, whatever. What was the, in fact,
and the person lacks credibility
and you see,
shouldn't their character be questioned?
I am very much concerned about this, because some nominees come and we don't even know about them. We don't know what their objective will be, what their interest will be going. Look at the Greater Accra Regional Minister.
What happened with that?
Total disaster.
What happened with that?
In fact, the Minister of Health, the number of minutes spent on him. Look at the issues we are facing in the health sector. I felt Parliament will spend a bit of time to dig, trying to know his interests, his priorities as he heads to the ministry. But you know what Afinyo is saying? Oh, you are one of us. You don't have any issues. We don't have any issues with you. So go. And you see, and then he will be saying, you see, we spent less time with him. When we spend more time with someone else, don't complain. What he's saying is that, for people who have been very much like critics to previous regimes, they are saving time to deal with those ones. Look at healthcare, Mimi, and you spend just about 45 minutes on the health minister designate, and you spend hours interrogating a minister designate for communications and digital whatever, and most of the things asked him were irrelevant stuff. No, that is not the purpose of this vetting. So they should sit up. The majority has been too much tolerant of the minority in my view, and it's about time that
supposed to be the case, because they're doing this together.
And you see, let me make this important point before I move on. You see, it is about time that Parliament itself reconsider some of the laws. For instance, the privilege given to the ranking member on the appointments committee to ask a number of questions, unlimited number of questions. Some people, successive ranking members might have been fair, but we have seen that some people, given the opportunity, will abuse the process, like Afinyo Markin is doing.
I don't know.
So it's about time that you wake up tomorrow and a ranking member will say that I need a whole day to ask questions.
He hasn't done that. I think.
But look at what he's doing.
He would be able
hours asking questions for hours, and so the chairman cannot do anything about it, because the chairman is a law-abiding chairman. He said that if a procedure is set out for a right to be exercised, he will follow through to that procedure. And the law says that the ranking member has access to unlimited number of questions. So there is nothing he can do about it. And I am proposing that it is about time they will look at that privilege. Now, coming to Baka, I wouldn't spend much time on that, because I agree totally with what my brother here said. I was very much disappointed. I like Oliver because of his activism.
But if he's done wrong and he said he's sorry,
but I am very much disappointed. Yes, I am very much disappointed, because I felt what they did there, to what end? When I listened to Honorable Ahiafo the way he presented the case on Tuesday, I thought they were going to deal with this gentleman. And you see, Parliament, like he said, has credibility issues. We have heard, and even in the Manasseh Zero's book, accusations that people pay their way through, people bribe a businessman came to do whatever. So I thought there was an opportunity to cleanse that, image. And
but doesn't that get,
this gentleman comes and he's not, no, it's not about being sorry. I felt like they could have done something better. At least, okay, maybe, I didn't even hear that they'll refer him to the privileges committee. In fact, at least some disciplinary measures should have been taken because it's becoming one too many. And then so he just invites him and then he apologizes and goes. So tomorrow Bernard sits here and says that, the appointment committee, Marking and Co, they took bribe. And then they invite me and then I'll go and apologize and then go away. What are we doing to our parliament? In fact, it was better if they didn't even invite him. For what they did on Wednesday, it was so shambolic. I was so disappointed. To what end?
Okay.
So it means that anybody could just utter any words and then they will come and then apologize and go. We are talking about bribery allegations here.
True.
So it was about time that if the gentleman was not able to provide evidence, deal with him. It is not time to apologize and go away. We are talking about, and Mimi, we are in a region. I am in international relations, so I understand what is happening in Assad region. Just last week, the 3 member states, now they are off ECOWAS entirely. They are military states. In Assad region, then we are now the only hope. So if we are doing some of these things and now in Chi, we say, so we are not serious. We didn't understand what we are doing. I felt it was an opportunity to deal with the gentleman for everyone to see that if you don't have any substantive evidence to back your claim, don't make such claims. Because you are downgrading the image of our parliament.
That's very
I was
true.
very much disappointed.
I was too. I think I was expecting more from the vetting committee with regards to that issue. The story was enough. But let's get into other stories. We don't have enough time. So let's get into Attorney General files to withdraw charges against former Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana, Johnson Isiama. The Attorney General, Dominic Ayene, has filed a notice to withdraw all charges against former Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama, who has been standing trial for 2 separate cases for his alleged role in the collapse of Unibank and UT Bank. A notice of withdrawal filed at the trial court and signed by Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, Yvonne Atakura Obuobisa, served the notice. Please take note. We all are aware of this particular case. I'm going to start with you, Jesse. It is so the allegations out here, and it's not from me, people. This is not from me. This is from the Ghanaian people. They're saying that, listen, it looks like the clearance thing is continuing from Nanado to Mahama. What does it look? So we called him what the clearing agents. And then Mahama comes in, and then there's more clearing. People actually feel like there has to be more investigations going into this case before letting Mr. Isiama go. What are your takes on this one?
I like the fact that she said there is more clearing. So
please. I'm not saying that we're looking at one case. It's okay.
No, but you said there is more clearing this time.
I didn't know. I take my words back. I don't know.
That's fine.
What he's trying to base that conversation on. Let's go.
Mimi, I think the Attorney General, he's a fine gentleman. I respect him. I like the office that he's occupying. But I think Dominic Ayene has started proving some signs of lack of integrity. And he has started showing unfit of the office he occupies. Because look, the entire prosecutorial powers of this nation has been vested in one person. That is the Attorney General under Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. In fact, the occupant of that particular office must be a person worth of integrity, a person worth of respect to the ethics of the Attorney General's office. Because Mimi, how on earth do you drop all 27 high-profile criminal charges against Stephen Opuni? High-profile criminal cases. Dominic Ayene has dropped all 27 charges. And if you don't know, let me quickly run you through some of the charges that has been dropped against Opuni. So, 1, frauding by false pretense. Conspiracy to commit crime, meaning you drop a case against someone who engages in conspiracy to commit crime. abatement of crime, corruption by a public officer, misappropriation of public funds. This is serious. This should be taken out of the context of politics, and we need to deal with these issues. 27 criminal charges has been dropped against him, and we sit here aloof and we think we have a better future in our democratic country. I'm sorry to tell you that we are moving on a danger zone. Someone who engages in breach of trust. Breach of trust. As a public officer, you engage in a breach of trust, conflict of interest, fraudulent representation. I can go on and on and on.
But
what do we see?
Dropping it means
what
that
do we see?
he hasn't been involved in it directly.
Oh, Mimi, come on. We are in this country. We've seen the cyclical genome of nation wreckers and thieves who always go scot-free when their party comes into power. You know some of the people.
I don't know them.
Find out. Fine. I agree with you because of where you are sitting. I agree with you.
No, I don't know them. What are you talking about?
I said I agree with you, but it's serious. 27 criminal charges, and you've dropped all of them. So it tells the good people of this country that the NDC, and I'm happy people are beginning to know the true meaning of the NDC colors. They are trying. I've always said this, and last week I said that on the part of the NDC, we have some dishonest lying politicians that are influencing, for example, this move. Because how on earth do you drop all these charges against one person, not even leaving one of them? Is it not political? Does it not sound political to you?
Well, the Attorney General says one thing, and again, people are protesting this.
Exactly,
this
we would have
so
to protest this in the coming future.
It comes out. But Moses, what are your takes on this one? So we wrap up the conversation.
Personally, I'd have to admit, but with the greatest respect to Dominic Ayini Esquire, I have mad respect for his office. I have mad respect for him as a person. But genuinely, as a citizen of this country, it's troubling that such a high-profile case, the charges, the quantum of the charges, the degree to which some of the crimes have been committed, it's troubling that one, within this short period, has been dropped, and two, there is a certain level of lack of information regarding the basis for dropping them.
Yes.
Because I think if it was probably maybe any ordinary, but the levels of wanton the committing of crimes against the states that are embedded in this whole case, I think it is even very appropriate and opportune that he even engages the nation and even explains the purpose. Because I think that is what is causing these pockets of opposition to the... Because there's truly... So I was having a conversation with a colleague and I was like, what truly is the basis?
Absolutely.
Because if you had properly communicated that, and it is also impossible to say that within a short period you've conducted credible investigations, all
these charges,
all these charges, to be able to make an emphatic claim that he is not guilty. It's too short a period. And so I wouldn't say and sit here and say that okay, Dominic Ayini has committed any irregularity, but what I would say is that he's doing himself an injustice by not communicating clearly the basis for these actions, and also he must also understand that timing is very important. It's too soon, too soon. And we've already noticed that if this is the tangent is going to go on, we are going to go back to the days of calling this administration also claiming like we did for the previous
because government.
One of the reasons why there was an emphatic level of goodwill towards the National Democratic Congress was because of the anti-corruption stance and the clear message to fight corruption that they preach to the good people of this country. And if they are going to come into government, and within a short period, we start off on this good note, it's not good for our democracy, it's not good for our governance dispensation. And I believe that within the coming days, he explains clearly to the good. And
he will not.
This is a PR strategy. Just a presser should be enough.
Explain to us the basis for this.
The basis for this. Then after that, people can then make meaning of whether your claims or the reasons why you are dropping the charges are legitimate or not legitimate. But right now, I won't fault Jesse for saying all the things he's saying because he's not even provided a basis. It looks like we're in a banana republic where anybody can just do anything and say, okay, I've dropped it. And
so we have oral team also investigating things, and someone has proposed that let's give this case to the oral team. Let them look into it since we're looking into all the big cases. But finally, with you, my brother. On this case, let's be honest. It looks scary.
Of course. I mean,
to a lot of
I'm
Ghanaians
not one of those.
cases
I'm not
like
one
this.
of those NDC communicators you would expect to defend wrongdoing because it is on the side of my government. I'll be very hypocritical, and that is why I said that. I mean, campaigning for John Mahama to win power is not for me, my personal interest, but so that we'll have a better Ghana. And so if there is anything not going right, I will talk about it. And to appear as if I had a briefing with Jesse before the show, because I tend to agree with him 100%. But let me say, I think my friend is here to recover from their defeat. Don't try to equalize the NDC with the MPP when it comes to fighting corruption. It wouldn't wash any day. And you see, we've been following Opuni's case very keenly. It's been almost 8 years now since this gentleman was standing trial. And all these allegations have remained allegations. Not even a single one of them have been proven. And you had a whole state, had about 8 years to prosecute Opuni. You couldn't come out with anything substantial. And so why do we have to spend resources to continue this prosecution? My only problem is that the Attorney General could have done himself some good to communicate to the general public that I'm dropping the charges against these people because of A, B, C. We wouldn't have sat here to talk about this issue if he had done that. So I expect that in the coming days, he will tell us why he dropped the charges. But from where I sit, I think this is, much ado about nothing. It was just a political witch hunting. If the MPP that I know, the MPP that Mimi, you and I know. If they indeed had any proof of wrongdoing against Opuni, this case wouldn't have traveled until 2025. Right. They would have dealt with him a long time. But because they don't have any, and you see, he was talking about, integrity. Attorney General being a man of integrity. Your Attorney General, Godfrey Yabo Adami, even he, Yabo Adami, who was recorded on tape. To prosecute somebody without evidence. All those things he did.
The way he raised the question is about to do with
We didn't even talk about him. We allowed him to continue as attorney. And you are here talking about the Honorable Aine, who even across everybody respects. No, the fact that he has not communicated, let's wait, like Jesse said, let's give them a bit of time. If he doesn't, I'll come and sit here.
Yes, but he has made a ruling already.
Let's demand.
And there is nobody
demand for it.
Demanding for the basis of the
explanation will inform our policy.
Absolutely. I think it's worth it.
If that explanation
he was supposed to even make the basis for dropping all those 27 charges before coming with the final ruling.
I agree with you.
And now he has come up with the final ruling.
But at least we deserve an explanation.
Exactly. So that was what he was supposed to do.
Lives were lost.
And so he's supposed to tell Ghanaians that Dominic Aine will come and give us the basis.
And I am saying that I am calling on the Attorney General.
He's not part of the party. He's representing the NDC
to provide us with some reasons why he dropped the charges. But I can tell you that it was because of the issue. There were no evidence. Look,
we're
just wasting our resources. We're just wasting, because if MPP had evidence, they would have prosecuted our opinion long time ago.
The right time will come.
Absolutely.
We are waiting for.
So we're waiting
the right time will come. Crime has no expiry.
It was just political witch hunting.
So
we had no basis, no. They're just wasting resources.
We will still come and we will still bring this issue
that was going nowhere.
And we are in any case,
we are saving the money to prosecute
the opportunity to prosecute who we have to prosecute. And he makes a very solid point. You were in power for 8 years. This case has been continuing for all this while. We could have easily.
Does that guarantee him to drop the charge?
Exactly. It does not. It totally does not.
Exactly. So he can't make that statement.
We all have opportunities to do right by this country. But every time we have the opportunity, we don't until we go on top. We saw what they did.
We are saving money to go after Cecilia Dapa. We are saving money to go after Cecilia Dapa and others.
And now they are saying the same thing.
So let's see how this goes. I keep reminding you that we have 120-day social contracts with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We're going to follow through with that, okay? We've seen what's happening, and I keep telling the NDC that if we follow on this tangent, with the exception of this particular case, but if we follow on this tangent, success is staring them in the face. They seem to be on top of issues. And so let's just see how this goes. But make sure to stay on www.mx24.app/voting voices. We have a lot of stories regarding vetting. The 120 days, we are counting on our page because every single day we're holding this government accountable.
Mimi, almost most of them have been fulfilled. I mean, you bear witness.
But the committees, guys, before we wrap up this committee,
global info analytics says that more than 78% of Ghanaians think the country is going to the right direction. You know, Mama is delivering on his promises. He's been fantastic.
We have 5 committees already put together. Do you guys think it's helpful? We have one looking into education, one into energy, I believe.
Privatization of ECG.
We have one looking at the private, yes, that. And then we're looking at the constitution as well.
Yeah. And we have one on the election violence as well.
Absolutely. Yes. All these committees,
personally,
please.
I think governance strategies vary. And this is one of the governance strategies that, because of the multiplicity of problems that we have, I also believe that it's a good move on his part to segment these, and I'm even far more happier for the composition of the committees, the caliber of people who are filling those committees. I have a lot of hope. If they don't disappoint you, I have a lot of hope that the committee, and I also like the fact that credible timelines have been placed on their work.
Absolutely, that.
It has been placed on their work, so we can hold them to account if they exceed and they're not bringing us any fruitful results. So we need to, because there is certain agenda that they promised needed to have started from the very first day, and he started showing that when he entered the office. So the creation of these committees to start tackling some of these vital issues is a good move, and I love the way they are going about it. Let's hope that it won't just be an institutional framework, but it would also come with the benefits that lie therein.
Absolutely, absolutely, gentlemen. Because I was wondering this morning coming to office, I was like, these committees, I didn't know too many. Are we going to get again? You're looking at resources being put into this, and so you're a little worried, considering that you know we're in a space where we're saying the country does not have money, and so the resources going into these research, they're going to be research conducted, to help buttress the most important points, but we're going to stay behind this government's back because again this happens to be a government that has come to inherit a lot of conversations. I'm not saying problems. People don't go and say that I'm
problems. So many problems.
Big conversations. And so we're going to stay behind their back, make sure that we get what the Ghanaian needs and deserves. Right here on the AM Club, we're doing this for you, and I keep telling you, so jump onto our social media platforms, connect with us. Let's do this together. I want to wish my very good friend a happy birthday, Ubi Franklin, all the way in Nigeria. Happy birthday to you, sir. We really appreciate you. We see what you're doing for the entertainment industry, and we definitely appreciate you. And to my very good friend, Nana Echiahene. Hey, Kofi. Sorry. Nana Kofi Echiahene. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for staying with us. And to you, my special viewers, thank you so much for always showing up. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. I really enjoyed today. I was able to control Jesse. I'm not able to control Jesse. Jesse's becoming a very obedient child. I only struggle to control you now.
Really?
You are doing well now.
Thank you.
Hey. Well, I'll see you again tomorrow.